I said this like in the summertime, but I want to talk about it again. What if the karma that comes for emotionally immature, abusive, or and especially narcissistic parents, or all of the above? What if their karma right now is having their adult children living with them? Because when their adult children are living with them, the parent is constantly triggered, constantly, the same way that the child is constantly triggered. But for the parent, it's worse. Because, parents, they thought, like, I'm going to go ahead and just send these kids, to school. And then when it's time for college, send them off to college. And then when they go off to college, and they're probably going to get a job and they're going to move out of my house, I don't have to deal with them. Like, they basically always just send their kids off somewhere so that they didn't have to deal with them. But you know what? This decade was a rude awakening for all of those narcissistic parents that have been avoiding their shadow work for all this time, and they had to deal with it. Why? Because when we hit with the pandemic, I said what I said. Basically, all of these adult children had to come home and move back in with their parents. And a lot of issues started to happen. A lot of things started to resurface. A lot of emotion. It was a lot of chaos. It was a lot of this. It was a lot of that. It was a lot of tit. There was a lot of tat. But a lot of that stuff was going to come boiling up to the surface eventually. And now it was at a point where everyone had to face it. You see, they probably weren't expecting to have all of this happen. So now they're stuck with their kids and their adult children that are around them all the time. And then they're wondering, like, okay, I'm not used to being around my children this long. How do I handle this? How do I deal with this? My children are constantly getting on my nerves. My children are constantly doing this or whatever. This is them finally seeing with their own two eyes the product of where their children are and how, pardon my French, how fucked up they are. The parent had to see with their own two eyes at first hand how fucked up their children are. And the parent has to realize that they played a role in that. If they would have been a better parent, their child would not be in that position. They thought they can easily just write their children off, but no. The universe always has other plans. The universe will always bring back to you what you are avoiding. And while they thought they may have been able to be an empty nester, no, they have their adult children living with them, doing what they can to get on their own feet, having issues happen. You see how it's the loving parents that are empty nesters now, but the toxic parents got their kids living with them? It is no coincidence, baby.